The following presentation was recorded live at the Richmond Marriott in Richmond, Virginia for the 29th Annual International Association of Square Dance Callers Convention. This is tape number 29, Contra Traditional.
Time to get started in this session, so the tape is going to be running. This is a taped session, so if anybody has a question or something you want to ask about, please come up and get a microphone, or we'll have this roving mic here that we might be able to move around for you. But we'll need you to talk on the microphone so we can get it on tape. I'm supported here by two highly technical experts in dance, Mr. Jerry Helt from Cincinnati, and on my left, Mona Cannell from up around Kettering, Ohio. And folks, if there's anything about contra dancing that you don't know, these folks have the answers. I'll guarantee you that. And what we're going to do is sort of just pass the mic around here. Jerry's going to do some stuff, Mona's going to do some stuff, and I'll do some stuff that has to do with contra. And if you have questions, again, be sure to get it on the tape. Okay? Here we go. Starting with Mr. Jerry Helt, Kathy's husband. We're in trouble.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. How many have called contras successfully? How many have never called contras? How many really don't give a hoot? Actually, we're set up here it's Contra Traditional Interest Session. Now that covers a lot of territory, doesn't it? Let's look at contras, for example. If you choose contras and you're a square dance caller, you probably want to choose contras that lean a little bit to the contemporary square dance form. And there's a whole group of contras that are very traditional. There's a group of contras that are, let's say, more modern. There's a group of contras that are new, that dance traditional. They feel traditional. I had a dear friend of mine who was a Scottish teacher, and he's deceased now, but he taught a lot of Scottish dancing, and he taught a dance that I drooled over this dance that he taught. And this dance reeked of tradition. And I said, Stuart, happened to be his name was Stuart, not this Stuart. Stuart Smith. I said, Stuart, boy, that dance must be 600 years old. He looked at me really funny. He says, no, it's 2 years old. So we have in our midst a group of contras that are contemporary contras, and some of them dance very traditional and feel traditional, and some have a little more modern twist to it. Even some of our contemporary square dance movements are in those contras, newer contras. Let's talk just a little bit about choosing music. We're talking about traditional music, and I'd first of all like to start with a common reel. I know what a reel is. Reel happens to be a 2/4 piece of music, and here's one. Just put a little bit of that on, and it's a pretty common piece of music. Okay, here we go. Very good. Which side was that? Good. Okay. Yes. This happens to be a 6/8 tune called Wright's Quick Step. Let's flip it over and take the other side, which is a reel or 2/4 piece of music called Lisa Sherbrooke. Number is MH1 0073, and I'm sure that Stu can tell you where to get that record. I'll bet you if you just get him cornered. All right, let's just cut that. Now, people say, how do I tell the difference between a 2/4 and a 6/8? I can give you a very simple way that works. Usually, if it's a reel, it's R-E-E-L, R-E-E-L, R-E-E-L. If it's a jig, it's a J-I-G, J-I-G, J-I-G. Let's see if anybody can tell me what this is. Not a waltz. Hear it? J-I-G, 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 and J-I-G, J-I-G, and J-I-G. Flip it over. That has to be a jig, right? J-I-G. Let's see what reel sounds like. See if you can spell out reel on it. Ready? R-E-E-L, R-E-E-L. Spell it. Good. Okay, let's pull that off. So there are two rhythms that we use in contra dancing that are very common. You're getting J-I-G out of reel? Oh, out of, yeah, okay. Well, you probably could do that, yeah. We actually a jig, if you slow that sucker down, it's a, let's just put that on, slow that down really slow. It actually is a 3/4 time if you slow it down. Wouldn't that be a 3/4 time if you slow that sucker down? Say we had a little bit of a waltz there, wouldn't we? Just a wee bit of a waltz, okay? That's good. So a 6/8 and a waltz are related a little bit. But the strange thing is that when we dance to a 6/8, we dance usually in a 2/4 rhythm. Unless you do skip and hop and all that kind of stuff. But normally speaking, in a contra, people dance a 2/4 rhythm to a 6/8 piece of music. Okay? Let's move on to a hornpipe. Don't ask me to tell you what a hornpipe is, because I really, unless you got a couple days. Well, it ends with a stamp, 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 but it's real hard to describe what that rhythm really is. It's a half-breed. Okay, here we go. It's called the Sailor, and it happens to be a Sailor's hornpipe. How about that? Anybody here, any ex-Navy folks in here? All right. And also we have 3/4 time that we use. And I think we all know waltz time, 3/4 time. And put a little 3/4 on there. You make a good disc jockey, you know that? Been there, done that. Okay. We all know how to count out a waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, enough said. Now, so we have a variety in music to dance to. We also have a rhythm which is called a strathspey, and if you'll play a little bit of a strathspey for us, which is Scottish, and the Scots dance to this. The Scots are a little weird, you know, they... Oh, sorry, Mr. Campbell. Sorry to wake you up like that, Cal. I mean, brought him right up to his feet. Cal, my boy, would you stand up and do a little strathspey for us? Could you do it? Get your Scottish butt off that chair and do it. There it is. Bigosh and Bigori. How about a hand for the strathspey man? All right. Okay. Now, I think we've covered most of the rhythms that we'd probably run into. I doubt if we'd do a strathspey dance in our contemporary form of contras, or maybe in our traditional form of contras, we probably would not. I don't think so. I neglected to say 2/4 music, which is our common square dance music. We're all familiar with any 2/4 music, are we not? I don't think there's any problem there. And 2/4 music, I don't think there's a problem with 2/4 music, is it? Or 4/4 music, I'm sorry. 2/4 and 4/4, okay? All that music and all those rhythms we have to work with in the traditional form. And a lot of them boil over into the contemporary square dance form, believe it or not. Let's look at different forms of dancing as far as configurations of dancing. And I'd like to do, of course, squares. We all know about squares. A square formation, no questions there. We also have a square formation of double couples in head position, usually, and single couples in side position. In the contemporary world, we call that a hexagon. I don't know why we call that a hexagon, because it's 6 couples, I guess. But it represents a rectangle if you look at it, if you really want to be serious about it. If you add 2 more couples to it on the sides, we would have double couples all the way around, and this is called a royal. I guess a royal square. Okay? Let's look at another form of squares, of a room square, where we have a line of people on this wall, which would be wall 2, a line in this wall, which is line 1, back here is 3, a line in that wall, and a line in 4. And usually in the folk dance field, that's pretty much not used a lot, but there's a lot of there's several Russian dances that use that form. It's kind of a neat form if you're doing some, let's say some elderly people or retirees. I don't like to say older people. I shouldn't say that. Former people. Mature. Okay, thank you. You never say old in a retirement home. It's always former. Okay, so the 4 wall happens to be one. Now, let's talk about in our lines, if we join hands in a big circle, this is called a single circle, or in the folk dance world, it's called a line, because you have all hands joined or whatever in a line. In that particular line, you could have a broken line by cutting part of it, and so we have an opening in it, and a lot of the Middle Eastern dances are danced in broken circles, sometimes called kolos. Is that correct? Am I all right saying that? Hora. Kolos, horos, and there's several other names that I can't even mention. I won't want to mention it. Anyway, that's another form. One of the other circular forms that we might want to talk about are Spanish circle or Sicilian circle. Are you all familiar with Sicilian circle? Mafia ring, I guess you'd call. No, it's not a Sicilian circle is one couple facing another couple around the circle. We've all watched that, and I'm sure how many use that in your square dance classes as a teaching? It's a great way to teach things. You can do all sorts of things. You also can use trios in that circle, that Spanish circle setup. 3 facing 3 around the floor. You can also use 2 couples or 4 people facing 4 around the floor. You can have them all face one way, clockwise or counterclockwise. So here's a very traditional form of dancing, some of those. Let's look at contras. I think everybody's interested, a lot of the callers are interested in contras. Could we form, let's say, 4 couples? And let's form a contra line for me, if you will, please. Okay, come on up. Now, if you say form on a contra line, in most groups that are into contra dancing, we would form a line with the gents over on my right-hand side and the ladies over on the left-hand side, and your partner's directly across from you. Okay? This would be called a proper contra line. Proper. Okay? Would everybody cross over? Swap places. This would be called what? An improper line. Improper. How about that? Would everybody cross over again? We're back into a proper line. Would the very first couple cross over for me? Would the third couple cross over for me, please? Okay. This happens to be an improper line, but it happens to be a duple line. What does duple mean? That means that you have two, and if the first four would step in the center and join hands in a little circle of four for me, please. Don't circle, just join hands. Would the other folks go forward and join hands? And what we have is a duple minor dance. What does minor mean? That means it's a minor group within a major group. Aha. Interesting. A minor group within and a lot of our dances are duple minors, as we have right now. A lot of the dances that we do. Okay, let's go back up again. I'm going to ask everybody to cross over. Lo and behold, we have an improper duple, and this is sometimes called a Beckett situation. Now, I'm sorry, not a Beckett situation. Let the ladies chain across. Now we got a Beckett. Okay? Is that better, Sue? Okay. Now, in the Beckett situation, Beckett comes from a dance called Beckett's Reel, where you dance with the partner on your right. You do all sorts of things across the set and down the line and all that. Okay? Would you chain the ladies back again for me, please? And I'd like, let's have 1 and 3 cross back over. Let's go back to proper lines again, if you will, please. Yeah, back to proper. Okay, everybody pass through. That's an improper proper. Now, turn alone, and now we have a proper dance. Okay. Would the first 6 people go forward and join hands? And lo and behold, we have what's this called? A triple minor dance. A triple minor proper dance. Does that make any sense? Because we have proper lines, we're in triplets, okay? A lot of the real good contras that we do are danced in triplets. Okay, drop hands back up. I'm going to have number 1 crossover. Now we have a crossed over triple minor dance. Go forward and join your 6s. Now we don't want to leave those people out at the foot of the set there, but somewhere down the line you're going to have a group of 2 with you. So we have another triple minor group dancing up and down the hall. Okay, would the first couple cross over again for me, please? Thank you. Okay. Anybody lose a contact? Okay. Piece of paper. Okay. Would the 1 and 3 step in and face down to the foot of the set and squeeze in between the couple below you and join hands in a line? Okay. This would be a very common way of going down the set and back up. Let's go down the set. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn alone, come back. Good. Would the top couple right here, would you folks just take the one that's your neighbor or the one that's on the one hand there and wheel that person around the face below? It's all right. It's okay. It's fine. Jeez. Would the centers do a little half sachet for me so you'll feel better about it? Okay, good. This would be called a mescalanza. Mescalanza. What does mescalanza mean? Any Italians in here? It's what? It's a group of 4, but mescalanza kind of means it's a mess. If you search that out in the Italian language, it does mean a mess, 4 probably. So here we have a mescalanza. And the mescalanza is a progressive dance where you pass through, move on to the next, and on to the next, up and down the floor. Now, if we had it into a circle, as we talked a while ago about a Sicilian circle, hey, that's interesting, Sicilian and mescalanza, it's Italiano. Okay, if we had a circle with one line facing another, we'd have a circular mescalanza. Does that make any sense? Yeah, perfect. How about a nice hand for our wonderful, wonderful group out here who demonstrated in such great style. And I'm going to move on. Should I go for questions now, or should I? Okay. If you have questions or comments, or if I've thoroughly confused you, this would be the opportunity to get even.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Questions? Yes. Wait.
Thank you. Are you going to hit on quadrilles?
Quadrille. Well, quad is 4. If we think of a quadrille as 4 couples into a square formation, but also, if you look and really do your history, we could have 4 couples in a line facing another 4 couples in the line, and sometimes that's called a quadrille because you're working as that little duple minor thing, which makes it a quad of 4 people within that group. I'm a collector of old music, of course, and also old printings. And I have a very old print, a steel engraving, of people in a line, and it's called La Quadrille. And I checked this out, and I found out that if you work with 4s in that group, you're doing a quadrille. But mostly, if we think of quadrille, we think of a square formation on the floor. Yes. Next question.
I thought a quadrille meant that, just like with the lance or the quadrille meant you had a figure that went through 4 times and the lance went through 5 times.
No.
That's what I had read in one of the books. It said the quadrille did not mean the 4 people. It meant that you repeated the figure 4 times.
Let Mona answer.
Jerry's correct. Many years ago, at the end of the last century, I believe, or at the beginning of this century, you correct me if I'm wrong, Cal, there were such things as 5-part singing quadrilles. Okay? So the dance was done in a quadrille formation, a 4-couple formation, but it was of 5 parts. So 5 parts really doesn't have anything to do with it.
So if you say lancer, you're usually, in most lancers, you have 5 parts. 5 pieces of music that's in that, or 5 dances of the quadrille danced in that 5-part music. Is that? Yes.
Have you ever run into a definite point where the square dance was used more general? In other words, when you go back to books before 1900, it's usually quadrille.
Yes.
But now, coming forward, somewhere, Ford's book called Square Dance, and were they using square dance in the pre-1900?
I think the very formal dances were called quadrilles. The sort of informal thing got the name of a square. Where out in the country they weren't doing quadrilles quite like. They were doing kind of Humpty Dumpty bounce around square type things. And there's an area right there where, well, Henry Ford called it squares, and he also called it quadrilles. So you got the two, and I think at that point probably they divided off somehow and turned into a... Yes, new. If you look back at some of the history books, you see nothing about squares. It's always a quadrille. Am I saying? Would you agree on that? Okay. Yes.
Regardless of the historical, the current, would it be true that the current understanding, when I think of quadrille, I think principally of New England quadrilles, where the calls are prompted and it's organized into 8s and 16s, and yet when you think square, you think you don't think of a prompted kind of a setup and something nearly so disciplined. So historically, we could contrast the New England quadrille with a West Texas hoedown, which you would probably never call a quadrille, you'd call it a square.
Yeah.
So I would think under today's meaning, quadrille would imply a prompted dance, whereas a square would not. That's my understanding. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think you're right on it. I might say this, that in quadrilles, in traditional quadrilles, you never mixed partners. You never got a new partner. In some of our contemporary quadrilles, you do get new partners. And sometimes the set type music that we're doing relates to a quadrille or a formal dance, a prompted type dance like a contra. Would you guys agree on that? I'm not sure. I've never seen any older quadrilles where they actually mix or get a new partner.
There are a few.
Okay. Okay. Next, yes, young lady down here.
Jerry.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
There was a period of time when the cotillion came in, and they were done in sets of 4 couples too. And at one period they were doing the quadrilles and the cotillions. And the cotillions had a chorus which identified the name of the cotillion, and it did several different verses which were different. And they eventually turned into the type of thing you do as square dances now. And eventually, I think the term square dancing didn't come into use until like early 20th century or so. I'm not sure.
Young lady on the front row.
Thank you, Lori Moore in Rhode Island. Jerry, have you ever done the waltz quadrille?
Yes.
Okay. I was just wondering, there's several different people have told me there's different songs to it, and I was wondering if it's just called waltz quadrille or if it was called My Bonnie, or is there a specific name for it?
Which one? Yeah, there's a lot of waltz quadrilles.
Jerry did one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't here on Saturday yet.
We did Cincinnati Waltz Quadrille in the main thing the other night when we had, what was it, old-time dancing or traditional dancing or whatever.
Well, this is one where the number one person leads down the center, waltzes down the center, divides.
They divide, go around the outside, yeah. Yes.
Is there a song to that?
Yeah. It's a Lloyd Shaw record, and Lloyd Shaw actually calls it on the record, but Lily Waltz or...
I would get castigated if I didn't put on the tape.
Get what? Castrated?
Castigated.
Oh, I'm sorry. My hearing is not going.
Okay, that was part of the 5-part singing quadrille. The 2 first couple down. I can't sing. Lost my voice. First couple down center, and there they divide. Let it go left, gent go right. It was part of the 5-part singing quadrille.
Right.
Okay.
But what was the music? They were asking about the music on it, the tune itself.
Da 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 da. There they divide. I've got about a 4-note range now.
I thought it was Lily or some Lily Waltzers. No, one Lily Marlene. No. Anyway, if you have a recording of that, and I think the only way you're going to find that recording is on a 78, and actually Lloyd Shaw calls that. It is on a CD.
Okay, John Bradford did a heritage album of it in about the 1970s. And I think probably they still have it available through Max Crick, location for the Lloyd Shaw Foundation.
Well, where do you get the one with Lloyd Shaw calling?
I think you're not going to find that.
You got
other
it, Stu?
than
Right here's the man that has it.
Okay.
It's a collector's item, folks. Get it. You hear Lloyd Shaw, he sounds like he's 90 years old on that. Yeah, it's a 10-inch 78. It is available. He's got a bunch of them. Questions? Any other questions? If not, yep.
I'm in a little late, and I may not have caught it.
What name? Name and where are you from?
Just a minute, I'll remember it. This is Deco Deck from Arlington, Virginia. I have done the Lancers in my groups with the recorded series, but I am interested. I never got much history on where does the Lancers fit into the picture we're talking about.
Stu, that's all yours.
Thank you. Actually, the Lancers generated from the French. The military people would do a lot of showmanship in dancing, and when they would get out and march very stately up to the center and back, and they were referred to as the Lancers because that was their job in the army, as a horseman carrying a lance. And so these military personnel then gave that, the proud feeling to the dance, thus the name the Lancers, and it sort of rolled over onto other quadrilles and things, given the same type of name. But other than that, I don't know.
I do.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
You do? Go.
Well, it's my understanding from research I've done that the Lancers as a military unit were there, but they weren't really in vogue until, I believe, the British went to India. And no, it was before that. It was the Crimea, I guess. And they became very well known, the Lancers units. And at that time, they became a vogue, and it got picked up, and the term was given to some dances in honor of these military units.
Okay.
That's my understanding. No, we're talking about the 1800s. Yeah.
Yeah, they became very popular immediately after the Civil War. They were hugely popular in the eastern part of the United States, right? Right after the Civil War. And this was to give you a little bit of trivia, this was the thing that the college team I called for did in the pageant in 1959 in Denver. And Mrs. Shaw came to see us up at the college, and we did what was called a Royal Lancers, which was done 8 couples to a set. And this is where I got my interest in all this historical junk.
Just a sidelight.
This is enlightening.
Yeah, let me put a sidelight in this. I've been doing research on musics for Lancers and quadrilles, 5-figure dances, and I have found in the archives that we have received from the Michael Herman Estate 27 different recordings of Lancer and quadrille musics with 5 figures each. I have recorded 5 of those on a CD, and it is available through the foundation. Also, there's a booklet that tells you what the figures are and how to do the figures. But there's 5 of them, and it's called Volume 1, Lancers and Quadrilles.
I need 4 couples on the floor, please. It's your only chance, sweetheart. We need 2 more. We'll put you in a little square formation right here. Why not? Now, we're going to have to use our imagination a little bit.
Oh, I thought you were dancing.
Not if I can help it.
Okay.
I'm going to have you folks just back up, just so you don't crash into anything. I'm going to have you folks back up a little bit here, about right there. Have you folks back up a little bit. If you folks will back up a little bit. Let's imagine that we have a building, and the building has 4 doors in it. It has a front door, 2 front doors, and it has 2 side doors. This happens to be a military building. Aha! We have 8 guards to watch over this building because it is very precious. We don't want the building burned down. We don't want any terrorists coming in on us. So we guard it. How do we guard this building? Would you side people stand back to back? Back to back? You people are going to go forward. Now wait, hold the phone. The guy's going to give the command, hup. When he gives hup, we're going to go forward 4 steps, or probably more if we were in a big building. 4 steps, go. Hup, 2, 3, 4. That's everybody. Yeah, thank you. Okay. And as you folks get to the center, you're going to put your back on the one beside you. You folks over here are going to turn and face this person over here and this person. You've just gone into the door right here. You've been into the door, right? You folks are out here on the corner. Everybody forward, go. Hup, 2, 3, 4. You're going to face the center. You're going to stand back to back. Okay, everybody go. Hup, 2, 3, 4. Hup, 2, 3, 4. No back up. Everything is forward. Always, never walk back up on anybody. You're a sentry. You're in the army now. Okay. You're in the French army. Yeah, it's even worse. Okay. Are we pretty much back where we started? You understand what we're doing right here? We're protecting this building. And the only person you put your back on is the guy next to you. The guy, your team person. Okay? Everybody ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 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 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Lo and behold, we have protected that building. At every point, somebody's in the building, somebody's out of the building. What do you think this is? What do you think it is? What is this movement we're doing? Grand Square, right. And if you look in almost all the dances, all the Lancers, usually the last is the second or the last. One of them, second or last, they always do it with a grand right and left or a grand square. Originally, the grand square was danced as it's danced right now. You always go forward. And if you look through Ford's book, he says it in there. If you look through some of the older books, you'll see the same thing. Thank you. A nice hand for our guards, our good people. What's that? Is that all position Grand Square? I guess you'd call it that if you want.
I just remembered something. I mentioned that there was a transition from the cotillion to the square dancing, but I didn't mention how it came about. The cotillions, as I said, had two different parts. It had the chorus, which identified, and then it had anything anywhere from 10 or 6 or 15 or 20, depending on how many hours they wanted to dance of the figures. But then they started to shorten them up, and then they started to find that they would call them in each set. And so they would call out whichever figures they wanted to do, and they would mix them up. And then calling began, and that's how it really kind of evolved into the square dancing calling.
If you really want to get picky or detailed or write a dissertation on Grand Square, there are dance history books that trace dancing all the way back through civilization. And according to one of the best known of those dance history books, at least one of them, the Grand Square goes back to the Golden Age of Greece. And it was danced by the military as a military figure. It was part of their drills. Coming forward in time, the first example we have of the Grand Square written down that I'm aware of, at least in the English language, is in Playford's Dancing Master in the 1651 edition. There is a dance in there by the name of Hunston House. The chorus figure of Hunston House is half a grand square, danced as we dance it today in square. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Danced it to the music, but in the same way that we do today with the sides facing and backing up. And that goes back to 1651. So the Grand Square has been around for a very long time.
All right, if there's no further questions for what Jerry's been discussing, then we're going to go to Mona and let her then spend some time with you on her part.
I could go in many different directions on this, and I thought about it, and it occurred to me that I've had a lot of people coming up and asking questions since Sunday night about how can I really do this? How can I really do contras in my square dance program or my home program, whatever that may be? Well, there's one good way to start. It's what I call waiting for the crowd to get there. Okay? Can I have two couples get up on the floor for a minute, please? Okay. I want you to face each other as though you were the head couples in a square. Yeah. Now, going back 200 or 300 years, before we danced contra dances, we danced country dances, and a lot of them were two-couple dances because people danced in private homes. And the most people you could get on the floor at any one time probably was two couples. So there were lots and lots and lots of two-couple dances. When you're waiting for the crowd to get to your square dance or your event, put some music on and do this. side. 2 ladies chain. Same 2 go right and left through. 2 ladies chain. Pass through. Partner trade. Circle left. Get back home. And hold it there. Now, about now, a third couple comes into the hall. Can I have one more couple, please? So now you have a third couple. They have come in and they have taken off their coats and they join the group. Make a circle, please, of 3 couples. This dance has a little chorus figure that we're going to do. You know how to do all the verses. The chorus is very simple. I'm going to have the gentleman in the red shirt be gentleman number 1. Couple to their right is number 2, and the other one is number 3. Whatever number 1 does, the other 2 echo in the chorus. Number 1 couple. Go forward into the center. Honor your quarter couple. Each of you has a different one. Go back to place. Go down the center and split the ring. Go around 2. Separate around 2 to home. That's the chorus. Number 2, do it. Go forward and honor your corner couple. Go back. Down the center, split the ring. Go back home. Number 3, do you need to do it too? All right, go ahead. Down the center, split the ring. Separate, go back home. The only verse figure that you probably don't do all the time at square dances is this: face your partner. You're going to do a forward and back, but you're going to veer to the left as you do it. And kind of keep your eyes on your partner's eyes. Forward and back. No hands. Forward 4 and back 4. Now go the other side. Forward 4 and back 4. That's a figure. All right, put the music on. Put the music on. This happens to be a little country dance called Gelding of the Devil, and we won't go into that. First verse, circle left. Circle right. Chorus, first couple, forward and back. Split the ring. Second couple, go. Split the ring. Third couple. Second verse, face your partner, veer to the left, forward and back. The other side. Chorus, first couple. Second couple. Third couple. Face your partner, hook a right elbow, go once around. Left elbow, go the other way back. Chorus, first couple. Second couple. Third couple. And hold it there. You've got the idea. Now, if nobody else came in for a few minutes, you just keep on going and let them do it again. Now they practiced it once, now they can do it. I haven't taught them a single doggone thing. All that I've asked them to do is to do their forward and back a little bit different. Everything else they already know from square dancing. Okay, so instead of people standing around not knowing what to do, when you're waiting for the crowd to come in, do something with 2 couples. Do something with 3 couples. Once 4 couples are there, you're set. Okay? But until they come in, you don't have to just stand around in a dead silence. There are things that you can do. That's siding. That comes from English country dancing, and that is called oblique siding. Oblique siding. There is another kind of siding, and we won't go into that because it takes special teaching, and you wouldn't want to take the time to do that at a square dance or a contra dance party or a one-nighter or something. If you're doing a party dance where you have people who know how to go forward and back and people who can circle left and right, you'll notice there's no do-side-o. There really is not a lot of terminology associated with either of those two things that I just did. And if you know your square dance basics, that's all that first one was. That's a mini square, okay? And you can do those things so your crowd gets there.
Very good. Anyone have any questions for Mona? Yeah, your husband has a question. Honey, take that over to Lynn.
Mona, would you do as you were requested to show how to move from squares to the various formations that Jerry presented?
Oh, okay. Can I have 4 couples quick? You're not going to dance. I'm just going to move you around for a minute. Do this. Have the head couples lead to the right in circle 4. Head gents break and make a line. That's one way. Y'all recognize that way to do it, and then you chain the ladies across. All right, now get back in your square. Sides lead to the right. Everybody face your partner and back away. You're there. You are in a duple improper contra line. This is the same thing you would do by having the heads lead right, circle to a line, and the ladies chain across, or by putting them in a proper line and then having every other couple cross over. You're there. And if you would like proof, I would like the first couple and the third couple to trade places with your partner. Now you can see that you're in a proper contra line, are you not? First couple and third couple trade places. You're in an improper contra line, but you didn't have to stop and explain that to the dancers. You didn't have to have them do anything except 2 couples lead to the right, face your partner, back away. Okay? What? Oh, okay. Mescalons is... Huh? I'm not with you at all. Get back in your square for a second.
Square your sets.
Get back in your square for a second.
Now, Mona, would you show us how to get into your mescalons?
Oh, how did I do that? Anyway, let me think how I did that. Side couples lead to the right in circle 4. Side gents break and make line. Squares line up so the lines are one behind the other, and you're in a mescalanza. If you would like to do something like the Vermont Tempest, have the lines, all the lines except the one right in front of the stage, bend the line. Okay? So there's all kinds of ways to do these things without involving the square dancers in great big complicated explanations. Okay?
Very good. Square your set. Stay right there. We've got another one.
Here's a real quickie. Side ladies chain. Heads face your partner, back away. There it is. Improper duple minor. Thank you.
And all of these are techniques that you can use in a square dance situation to get very quickly into contra formations. I don't know that it's written down any place. There are some notes floating around that, but I don't think they've ever been combined into a group. Maybe we'll try to do something like that for next year or something, whatever, and have it available to people. I want to show you a formation that we use to dance from with only 5 people. So somebody can sit down, but we need 5 people up there. Just people. No partners. No partners, just 5 people. We still need a people. Can we get another people? We got 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay. 4 of you get in one of the 4 positions in the square. The other person get in the center. So you have a number 1 person, a number 2 person, a number 3, and number 4. Now normally we would stand further away from the center person, like he had deodorant problems or something. And this little dance was originally came out with the name of polka dot. Now I have no idea. I think the Scottish is the source of the figure itself, but I have written 2 or 3 dances from this same formation. There is a progression figure that happens in all of them. Number 1 person join right hands. Center person join right hands with number 1 person. Just join hands. That go back up. Okay. Step to the right and touch. Step to the left and touch.
Right. Other right.
Yeah. You'll be okay when you figure out which foot you're... He was in the Army, too. Okay. With the right hand, turn half. 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, stop, stop. Center person, new center person, let go of that number 1 person out there and go to number 2. Join right hands, step to the right and to the left. Both of you have to do this. Step to the right, to the left, and turn half. Then that new person in the center, go to the next one. Join right hands, go to the right, go to the left, turn half. Go to the next person, center person, join right hands, step to the right, step to the left, and turn half. We have a new person in the center, and everybody else in the circle has moved 1 position, so you're dancing from a different position. So this is the progression figure that happens in this little dance. Center person and number 1 and number 4 make a right-hand star for me. 3 people. Three people start. Yet you too, Deco. Okay? Go. Once around. 8 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stop. Make a left-hand star with the other 2. Deco, stay out of there. Just the center person. Okay, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Now, you should be facing number 1 position, and if you've got square dancers, you might want to do just a figure 8 here. If you've got folk dancers or people that can do the reels or the hays, you can do a hay or a reel of 3. But just do a figure 8. Just walk around Deco. Don't move, Deco. Right shoulders, cross over, left shoulders, come back to the center. Keep going, keep going. 3 people, that's it. Back to the center, join right hands with Deco. Do your progression now. Go to the right, to the left, and turn. 1, Deco, move up. And right, left, turn. 1, 2, move up. To the right, to the left, and turn. 1, 2, 3, to the next, to the right, to the left, turn. Hang on to that hand, don't let go. Number 1, join them in a right-hand star, star right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Center person, left-hand star. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Figure of 8. Walk right shoulders around number 1. Cross over, left shoulders around number 3. Go back to number 1 and you start your progression step again. Okay? And the little dance here is called double dot. Sort of taken off from polka dot without the haze of the reels. Now, normally in the polka dot, you'll do a reel through the center and a reel on the sides and then do your progression. But this is just 2 stars, figure 8, and do your progression. And it works beautifully. To get a piece of music that has 5 times through 32 bars, or 64 counts, 5 times through. And most of your tunes that we use in Contra, we're very conscious of how many times the dance goes through. If it says 7 times 32, that means the dance is going to go through 7 times. 32 bars is 64 counts, and normally dance is 64 count long. So if you're looking at your music, look at what the length of the tune is. Don't get a tune that says 6.5 times through, or 6.5 times 32. That means it goes through 6 times, and it goes halfway through again, so you're lost right out in the middle of the figure that you're dancing. You sort of stop dead. So try to get something that breaks even with a 4, 5, 6, or 7. We got a question over there, honey. Okay? You folks, thank you so much. You can sit down now.
I'm Joe Frisella from Rhode Island, and if they got a tape from this and did it in Rhode Island, they would have their hands like this when they went around when they did the 3 hands, and they would probably lose a beat, wouldn't be able to do it to time. So I just wanted to stress that the hands are bent at the elbows and the fingertips are touching.
Okay. When you're very, very right in that the tape cannot visually show what we're talking about here, but in the right-hand stars, it's once around and 8 counts. Right. Whatever it takes to get there. If you have to bend your elbow to make it shorter to get there in 8, fine, do it. But some people, walk faster so they can stick their hands out. But yeah, you're right. That's right. The 8 counts is for the right-hand star. The 8 counts is for the left-hand star. The 8 counts is for the figure of 8. And, 16 for the figure of 8. And then you do your 4 progression steps. And it gives you a complete sequence. Okay? Anybody else have a question? Comments? Okay, Mona?
Along those lines, if you are working with square dancers or round dancers, people within the square dance community, they are used to certain hand and arm holds. I wouldn't personally try to change that in any way at a square dance. In other words, if they're used to having their hands up like this in a star, at a square dance I'd leave them alone. I'd let them do it that way. And I would make sure not to use a dance that called for the other kind of star, the hands across star. And there is a big difference in the way those two dance. A hands across star danced correctly will get you around very, very comfortably in 8 steps because the people are helping each other. There's some momentum there and some centrifugal force, I think is what you call it. But not at a square dance. That is not appropriate there because it takes teaching time. And if you want them to enjoy what they're dancing, then let them have different music, good music like what has been played here so far today, but the figures that they're accustomed to. If you're going to change anything, just use something very little, something that isn't going to take any teach time. After you have been doing dances at your square dance clubs for a while, then occasionally there will be a wonderful piece of music that comes out as a singing call. And judiciously and conservatively, then you can use one of those with your dancers for the contra music. However, I would be careful not to do one that you're using every time that you do a club dance as a singing call. Use one that you either haven't done for a while or one that is brand new to you and to the crowd. And they'll thoroughly enjoy and appreciate the music in that fashion as well.
Okay, now I've heard a number of people say, I like to do this circle contra thing that I saw them do in here, Pretoria and so on. That's fine, but any duple minor contra can be danced in a circle. All you have to do is have enough people to go all the way around the room. Then you don't have to worry about calling crossovers or that type of thing. Normally, if you're in a duple minor contra and you're dancing just in a set, there'll be a need, there's a few automatic crossover, but there'll be a need for saying cross at the head and cross at the foot, telling the dancers at the end of the sets to cross over and get ready to start dancing. But there are a number of dances that are really automatic crossovers that are built into the dance figure itself. And when you have that, then you don't have to worry about the crossover. Let me show you an example that a very knowledgeable person in writing contras put into a dance that made it real simple. You want to show them, since it's your dance? Can I get 4 couples up here and make a contra line for me? Boy, we depend on these folks. Thank you for being here. Proper? You go proper first. Yeah, just get proper, and then we'll cross 1 and 3 over, please. Okay. Now, let's say we play around here and do some figures up and down the set, okay? Everybody pass through. Turn alone. Gents, if there's a lady on your right side, reach over next to you there, take her and do a half promenade with a couple across from you. Now, if you'll notice that the active couples that crossed over have moved down one place, the others have moved up one place. This is automatic. You don't have to call it. You don't have to say crossover thing. So it's part of the dance. Now we do some more things up and down the set and across and so on. Everybody pass through. And you turn back. If there's a lady on your right, gents, half promenade. Thus we have another progression down the set. So the couple that was up at the top here has already moved down 2 positions because we've gone through 2 sequences of the dance, and the progression is automatic. So there are a number of dances that have this type of thing in it. It doesn't have to be that. There are other types of progressions can work the same way. But they are automatic, and you don't have to worry about it. A lot of callers say, I can't call contra because I don't know when to put in the crossover here and there business. Well, some dances you don't have to worry about it because it's built in for you. And if you get those type dances, if any of you were in the session that did with Joe Casey yesterday, I handed out some, and there were a number of dances there that had automatic crossovers in it on the contras. If you didn't get one and you're interested in one, let me know and I'll be glad to send you one. But this type thing makes it easier for new callers who are going into Contra without having to worry about when you call the crossover and when you don't call the crossover.
Would you folks change position for me? Would you go sit down? At a lot of caller sessions I do, I find out that I usually ask the group, do you do Contras? And they say, oh, yeah, I do Contras. I say, what Contras do you do? Well, I do the Virginia Reel and Slanch to Donegal. Well, they're both good dances, I guess, or fair dances, but there are a lot of other dances, if you search a little bit, that are a whole lot better than Slanch to Donegal and Virginia Reel. And during the weekend that we had here, we had some really presentations of some really nice material and really good dances that I think you folks would be interested in. So if you're planning, is this all right to plug this? If you're planning next year's convention, plan to come early and come to the CDP program or whatever it's called. Is it? Why don't you get him a mic? Thank you.
You should hear the beating we took in the board meeting about the fact you got to use a mic. You know, I'm afraid I get whipped around the head. It will be the beginner. Well, we'll call it the beginner dance leader seminar. But we won't use the word party because one of the participants couldn't come this year. The principal refused to do the right because we had the word party in the title, which is stupid. Yeah. And I think probably next year, Bob and I have been talking this over, I think next year we will probably start at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. We've got enough material to cover. We need the extra 2 hours.
8 o'clock. Okay, that's good. Another thought occurred to me. You know, in any session that you've been in, if you say, golly, I wish you'd shown some of this, walk the people through or got up and demonstrated or something, and you didn't get that, if you write it on your critique sheets, then they pay attention to it. Cal says the board reads all these critique sheets, and if there's enough people saying, we want a space to dance in this session, then you get a space to dance. Now, we were supposed to have a space to dance in here, but we didn't, and Lynn and some of the ladies that got here early helped him put the chairs back so we had room to at least show some of the things that we're talking about. It's easier to get an understanding if you can see it rather than just sit here and talk about it. So on your critique sheets, when you fill them out, say, we need dancing space or something like that to critique whatever's been done. Questions? Answers? What's your pleasure? There's a question back here.
Could you give us one of the figures that you would use first time at a square dance club as a contra? First time that club has ever seen a contra, what would you do?
I would use Jerry Helt's primer contra.
And the figure is?
Improper duple. Okay, and you got a crossover situation, boy, girl, up and down the step. The change is automatic, and I'd say, just like Jerry wrote it, hit lady, or all the ladies down the center. Turn and come back. All the men down the center. Turn. Can we get a set? Yeah.
This was done
Sunday?
Sunday afternoon at the dance.
Yeah. 1-3 crossover. Okay, ladies, just take one step into the center, face down. Don't go single file now. Go 2 separate files. Go down the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Turn around and come back to your place. Men go in and go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn and come back. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With your partner. Take your partner's hand. Now, that's not the person beside you. That's the person in front of you. Down the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn around and you come right back. 1. Face your partner back away. Everybody pass through, turn alone. Gents, if there's a lady on the right, half promenade. Now that's the same progression I was showing you just a moment ago. But the figures is the same. Ladies down the center, gents down the center, couples down the center, and then everybody pass through, turn alone, take the lady on the right and half promenade.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't it? I use it all the time. You don't know how much I use that thing. But it's a beautiful dance for, square dance callers to use to get into because there's not a whole lot that you have to teach here. They know how to promenade. They know how to pass through and turn back. They know how to half promenade. So everything's there for you. The dancers have the skills. All you have to do is just prompt it for them and get them into it. But this is one I would start with. This is one I usually start, especially if I'm with an elder hostel group teaching elder hostel that half of the people have never danced before. I can do this thing and get them into it very quickly without a whole lot of teaching.
The other thing that you'll notice, all of you who are square dance callers, this gives them comfort because there's a familiar setup. There are boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, which we have in squares and we have in lines of 4. But it's different enough. If you use good music that is not normally associated with square dancing, and they are going down the set girls alone, then guys alone to start, that separates it from their normal run-of-the-mill patter tip and singing call. It says to them, this is different. It's something you can do, but it's different. And they can enjoy the difference without getting clobbered by it. Now, the only other comment that I have right now is be careful of your tempo. Whatever music you do, make sure, especially for people who haven't done much contra dancing, or none at all, that the tempo does not go above 128 beats a minute. If you're on carpet, it should be slower. If your group is mature, it should be slower. Pick your dances carefully so they don't start out with a 16 count swing your opposite and then a 16 count swing with your corner. You don't want that in a dance that you're starting with square dancers or round dancers because they're not accustomed to that. They're not comfortable with it at all. Make sure that your dance tempos are very comfortable for them, and sometimes in order to do that, I found that the best trick to figure out the tempo is when you're standing at the table and you put the music on and the people are getting up, march in place to the music. And if it's uncomfortable for you, you can bet it's going to be uncomfortable for them. And so be careful with tempo.
Okay.
Should these people sit down? Please be seated. Thank you. How about a hand for our exhibition group? Good. In a lot of the old-time dances, and we're going back to 1700s, 15, I don't know how far back, but the idea of going down the set and up the set had some real significance because that was to show off yourself. You usually wore a costume. If you were a military person, you had your military uniform on. And as you went down the set, there are many remarks made by the people watching. The one said, you notice how the man limps? You know, he was in the war, you know. This other woman said, oh, no, a horse stepped on his foot. And you notice that lady, she has that little swelling in her stomach. We think she may be in a family way. And the other one says, no, she sits at home and drinks beer all day.
A lot of gossip up and down the line. I had another thought here and I lost it. One of these, what do they call it? Temporary, what is it?
Senior moment.
No, temporary information. Yeah, all right. Moving from squares to lines. Use to intro to club. No.
For those of you who don't do contra right now with your square dancers, an easy way to start is get 4 to 6 couples in your basement or your garage, on your patio. Provide them with donuts and cider or something for refreshment, and work the living daylights out of them, learning to do contras yourself and doing it with them in private so nobody's embarrassed. And once everybody's a little bit comfortable with it, when you take it out to your club first time, encourage those people that you worked on your patio to be the first ones to jump up on the floor and encourage all their friends to get out there too. Use them as shills, but make them promise that they won't tell anybody that they've had practice.
sort of set the people up, huh? Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Golly, if they'll do something to enjoy the dances that you're going to present, then more power to you. Now, if any of you are interested in any particular thing about anything we've talked about today, say dances with automatic progressions, that type of thing, if you just let me know what you need, what you want, I'll be glad to break out some stuff and send it off to you. But I don't know what you want until you say, hey, I need this, and then you'll get it. All you have to do is make the request. And I'm sure Mona and Jerry do the same thing. If you ask them for help, they'll be more than glad to share with you what they have. We got a question out here.
I believe that you told us at the seminar this weekend that you have not you personally, but there is available the Contra Lab training package.
Yes.
And I had mentioned that to a couple of people, and they said they had never heard of it. So maybe you could give us a little bit more on that.
Yeah, it's only been out about 4 years, so they're a little slow at getting the information out. But ContraLab has developed a programmed text that has 6 lessons in it, and it goes through all of these formations that Jerry just showed you up here. It shows you those formations and teaches you what is involved in the formations. And there's a test at the end of each of these little lessons that test your knowledge of what you just got through reading and the diagrams and things that were shown you. And then immediately you get feedback as to whether you're right or wrong. So by self-pacing, you can do it, all in one day, or you can spend 6 months on it, or you can spend a year on it. And if there's part of it you don't understand, go back and do it over again. There's an audio tape that comes with it that involves actual practicing a call to music. And then for the test on the last part of it, you actually have to call a contra, put it on the tape, and send it off to your mentor. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. The mentor, he'll evaluate it and send it back to you and say, yes, this is good, or no, you done bad, let's go back and do it again type thing. So you get some evaluation immediately from somebody who listens to your tape and looks at your program. So that is available through ContraLab, or if you want to, you can get it through me. Now, this gentleman over here has used a bunch of them. I don't know how many. Did you go through all those yourself, or did you?
I've gotten rid of 10 of them.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention that I test hopped that in people among callers like ourselves in Virginia, in the state of Virginia, and I think Carol Dickinson has a copy of it. I know that we have several of them there, and it does function. The only thing I haven't got back is their tapes yet.
Well, stay on them. Get that tape. Some of you may not know what ContraLab is. ContraLab is sort of comparable to CALLERLAB in that we are the International Contra Callers Association, and we meet every year the day before the National Convention. So the guys that are coming to the National Conventions can attend the meeting and be there for the convention. So at the present time, I'm the chairman of ContraLab at the present time. We'll have elections coming up in June. We'll have a new president at that time, our chairman. And so it's a professional organization just like CallerLab is for Square Dance calling. It's for Contra callers. And in fact, some of the people in here, of course, are members. Any other questions, comments? We certainly want to thank everyone for coming out. We appreciate you being here. And don't forget those critique sheets. If you want more demonstrations, more actual performance, put it on your critique sheets, and that'll give us an opportunity to get the Board of Governors. There's a hand up back there real quick.
We still have 5 minutes. Why don't you do a contra for us?
Well, why not? Can we get at least 4 couples? Do what? Oh, yes. I'm glad you mentioned that. I completely forgot. Tonight at 9 o'clock, we'll be having a contra and traditional dance right after the banquet. So if anybody'd like to come out and take part in it, be there at 9 o'clock, because we'll be starting, I don't know what I'm going to do either. Okay, we can do the baker's wife real quick. Join 4 hands from the top. We'll show you what we got here. We got a duple minor proper set. Okay? Now, drop hands if you will. The hardest part of this dance is the very ending of the sequence, and I'll show you what that is. You wouldn't use this on a first night, but number 1 gent, number 2 lady, just go forward and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, back 2, 3, 4. Do, si, do, diagonally. Number 2 gent, 1 lady, forward. Wait a minute. If you join 4 hands from the top, we got a lot of active couples all the way down the set. Why aren't we dancing? Okay. Number 1 gent, number 2 lady, forward and back. Okay, do, si, do. Number 2 gent, 1 lady, forward and back. Do, si, do. Everybody with your partner, forward and back. Do, si, do. Join hands in a little circle of 4, and this is the hard part. Circle to the right. 1 full turn. Join 2 hands with your partner, and the number 1 gent, you're going to pull your partner. Number 2 gent, push your partner on a diagonal. The number 2 gent will go diagonally left. Number 1 gent go diagonally to your right, so that you end in a line of 4. Okay, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then zigzag to the next position. 1, 2, 3, 4, and everybody's moved down 1 place. So this is the progression part of the dance, and it's called a poussette, okay, or a half a poussette. All right, a poussette. We shouldn't have 2 men dancing together now, okay? All right. Oh, 1's a lady? That's good. Yes, question. Yes, you stay number 1 all the way to the foot. After you stand out of sequence, you'll be a number 2, come all the way to the top. When you're... Yes, you've got to circle once around, and then the 2-hand poussette. Okay? Once. Yeah, in Kentucky. In Kentucky, that's what they call it. Okay, let me get a disc out here. Stay right there, we'll do it again. Number 1 gent, number 2 lady. Go forward and back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back 2, and you do side do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 2 gent, 1 lady. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back 2, and you do side do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody, forward 2, 3, 4. Back 2, and you do side do. 1, 2. Join hands, circle 4 to the right. Go. 1, 2, 4 hands. Wait a minute. You're working with the couple below you, okay? 1 couple at the top, you're out. Yeah, circle right. Full turn. Join 2 hands. Push and pull, zigzag. Poussette. Now we're ready to come into the top, and you're number 1 this time. Okay? Because you stayed out 1 sequence. You're number 1 now. All right? Are you ready? Good luck. Hello? Number 1 gent forward. Go side up. 2 gent, 1 lady. On the day. Forward. Don't hurry. Go side up. Don't hurry. With your partner. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back 2. Go side up. 1, 2. Join hands. Circle right. Right. Join 2 hands poussette. Push and pull. On the diagonal, number 1. Forward and back. Do side do. Now that new number 1, remember you got to go backwards on the poussette. Number 2. Number 1. On it, do it. With your partner, forward and back. Do side up. Join 4 hands, circle to the right. 1 full turn. Join 2 hands. Number 1 gent, go backward. Here we go.
forward. On the diagonal, come into the heads. Go side up. Number 2 on the diagonal. Go side up. Straight across to your partner. Forward. Go side up. Join 4 hands, circle right. Right. Join 2 hands, push and pull. Number 1, back up. On the diagonal, number 1, forward, 2, 3, back, 2. Go side O. Number 2, gent on the diagonal, forward. Go side O. With your partner, everybody, forward. Go side O. Join 4 hands, circle. Join 2 hands, push and pull. Come in at the heads. On the diagonal, forward, 2, 3. Don't move. You should stay up here. Go side O. Number 2, forward and back. Go side O. Straight across, forward and back. Go side O. Join 4 hands, circle to the right. Join 2 hands, push and pull. Number 1, go back. On the diagonal, number 1, forward, 2, 3, 4. Number 2 on the diagonal. Go side O. With your partner, forward. Go side O. Join 4 hands, circle right. Join 2 hands, push and pull. Come in at the heads. Do number 1, gent on the diagonal. Forward, 2, 3, 4. Go side O. Number 2, gent, you know what to do. Everybody with partner. Join 2 hands, 4 hands, circle right. Join 2 hands and push and pull, zigzag. Everybody bow to your partner. Very good. Fantastic. Good job. The name of the dance is The Baker's Wife, and I used a jig for the tune, and it fits very well to a jig-type medley. Okay, what's this? Handouts from earlier meeting. Okay. Contras with progression. Oh, for Chuck Hicks. Okay, good. Okay, once again, I want to thank everybody for coming and being with us today. We certainly appreciate you being here. And don't forget tonight, the dance. We'll be doing this type of thing this evening at the regular dance. So come and join us. We want you to be there. Please. Thank you.